Look at the pretty flowers I got you guys. I wanted to show you guys because these were $5 at the grocery store, right? And they look beautiful. This is just something that made me happy this week. So, hello, welcome back. I decided I'm gonna call these Get Ready With Me videos emotional beauty because I think beauty is very emotional and I love talking about emotions. So I decided this is kind of going to be like a Q&A thing, but more so like live journaling. So I'm going to read a few prompts about emotions, self-confidence, identity, and other kind of related topics. And then I'm going to answer them honestly and vulnerably. And then I'm going to leave the questions in the comments so that you can answer them too. And whether you want to comment your answer or journal them in your own time in your own privacy. But I'm still playing around with these videos, so we'll see how this turns out. But I'm someone who loves talking about emotions and asking a million questions and asking very kind of in depth and kind of digging to get to the root of emotions. So I think this is on brand. I think this will be fun. So the first question is, how do you feel about yourself today at this very moment? If I had to answer that, I feel like I have so much optimism and hope for myself at this moment. I feel like when I look in the mirror, I think this is a woman with so much heart, so much passion, so much kindness, so much love, so much softness, so much goodness within her, that she cannot fail. She just only needs to believe in herself. So, right now, I feel about myself that she is charging up and powering up, and I feel good. I feel good about myself right now, and I'm excited to see what I do next. That's kind of how I feel. I'm curious, how do you feel about yourself today in this very moment? Because keep in mind, I am a Gemini, so we are very moody. I'm also a Cancer moon, so very, very moody. So this could totally change tomorrow. I could have a completely different answer tomorrow. But today, right now, in this moment, we are feeling good. Okay, the second question, what has been bothering you lately? Hmm, there's been a couple things, but I think the biggest thing that has been bothering me lately is a frustration with myself. It kind of goes to the first question. I look at myself and I know I am capable of so much, that I have so much power and so much goodness and so much within me. So at times I get very frustrated with myself and bothered by the fact I haven't utilized my power or my skills or really put the energy and the care and effort into and behind myself. And there is a frustration sometimes of when you begin doing that, and there's that transitional period where you are leaving where you were and what you were doing and transferring and pivoting into something different and new. There's this frustration and uncomfortable feeling sometimes where nothing feels like solid ground. And I can be very hard on myself at times. So there are times where, in this period where certain things don't feel completely solid, I get very bothered by that lack of certainty, and to all my control freaks out there, by that lack of control. I instead have to just focus on what I can control and not be bothered so much by what I cannot do or what I cannot change. And that is something that definitely has been bothering me lately. So, again, I'm curious, what has been bothering you lately? And how long has it been bothering you? And also, maybe what do you do? Kind of like how I said with my control issues, I just focus on what I can control. What do you do to kind of help and self soothe yourself with what's bothering you? Let me know. Give me advice. Third question, what emotions do you experience the most often and where do you feel them in your body? So, the emotions that I experience the most often are this is going to sound very weird, but maybe people can relate to it. A bit of idleness, almost like dissociation. There are some times where I experience this feeling of just kind of feeling without, and not like without things, but almost dissociated from the present moment. Moments where I sit in silence a lot, which some people who come over my house find that very strange, but I exist in silence a lot. And that is an emotion that I feel quite frequently is almost out of body and kind of dissociating from the moment and viewing it from a third party lens. Sounds a little bit weird, but that's the truth. That's something that I do experience. And I also experience, which I guess is an emotion, criticism a lot. Like I said, I'm very hard on myself. I'm very loving to myself, but I'm also very hard on myself. So I do experience an emotion of critique, and I feel that very tensely in my body, probably in my muscles. That's why I stretch a lot, because critique feels very tense in the body. But also, I feel it in my gut as well. When you're stressed and anxious and hard on yourself, I think you can feel it a lot in your gut. You worry a lot. So that's me. I'm curious, what emotion do you feel and where do you feel it? I think that's an interesting connection. You feel something, but exactly where do you feel it in your body is kind of interesting to think about. So I think we're on question 4, which we have 6 questions. So we're chugging along, we're getting there. Number 4, what emotions do you find the hardest to accept? Now, this is my fun area because I love emotions. I love talking about emotions. I love feeling some emotions, but I am someone who feels things very intensely, and that's both positively and negatively. When I'm happy, I am super happy. I am over the top bubbly happy. But it is the same when I am sad. I am over the top, immensely, deeply sad. But the emotions that I find hardest to accept goes back to my previous answers, is that feeling of helplessness or a lack of control. When I'm feeling like there's no way to fix this, or I don't know what to do, or I can't do something, or I can't change this, or I can't get to this thing, when I feel like I don't have control of this situation, that is very hard for me to accept. And sometimes I do avoid it, and I sit in, well, I've had to learn how to sit in the emotion, because a lot of the times, if I do start to feel something negative, a negative emotion like fear or loneliness or anger, I tend to do things so that I don't sit in the feeling. But I've had to learn how to sit in those feelings and accept those things. Now, next question, and I feel like these last 2 are very interesting and they kind of work in tandem, but I think we're on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Question 5, are there any feelings you're trying to numb because they're too raw or too difficult? And yes, this is a running theme. You're seeing a theme, my lack of control. And I would say sometimes I numb negative emotions, but specifically anger. Anger is an emotion that I have tended to numb throughout my life. Anger and disappointment are 2 that are very intense for me to feel. I struggle with anger as an emotion, and I struggle with feeling disappointed. When I'm disappointed, I feel that in the depths of my gut. Like my entire body feels disappointed. And so when I feel those emotions coming on, I tend to avoid them. Or in the past, I've tried to avoid them by doing something. Like I remember one time I had a friend ask me, because we were talking regularly, and when they would ask, oh, what have you been doing today? I would always say, oh, I went shopping, or I, just went and walked around the mall, or I just went to this outdoor shopping center and walked around, or I just went to lunch really quickly. And they had said, don't you have XYZ to do. Like, do you ever use shopping as a way to avoid having to deal with certain things? And they were 100% right. I do use doing things and activities to avoid sometimes feeling disappointed or angry. If I know, hey, I feel disappointed, I'm going to get out of the house so I'm not sitting in disappointment. But I've had to learn that sometimes you do need to just sit in it and feel it. And it is like that saying, sometimes the only way out is through. So I've had to learn that numbing feelings to get things done sometimes is necessary. We can be sad, we can be upset, we can be disappointed, we can be angry, and sometimes we might have to numb that or put that on the shelf to deal with the responsibilities of life. I think that's normal and healthy, and that's what I've been learning to do. But I think numbing them indefinitely because you simply do not want to feel them or do not want to deal with them or do not want to feel the weight of the emotion is not healthy and it's avoidant. And that is something that I have done. And in the past couple years or so, I've learned to let the emotion fully hit me. And my God, does it hit? It is insane. If you're interested in how I ride the waves, if you're someone who also feels things very intensely and you're interested in how I ride through those intense emotions, let me know and I can talk about that because it is a process, baby. But here we are. Last question. What are the most important lessons you've learned from allowing yourself to feel painful emotions? And my goodness, I hate being the one to say this because when people have said this to me, I have wanted to punch them in the face. But unfortunately, it is true, is that what you endure does make you stronger. And that is what I have learned by going through painful situations and feeling intense emotions like disappointment in love or relationships or friendships, by feeling loneliness or isolation, by feeling intense sadness or depression. I've learned by allowing myself to fully feel those emotions and sit through them and allow them to run their course and have their moment, that I can survive them and I can endure them and they will not overcome me. And I also become less afraid of them and less avoidant. I'm someone who in the past has been both anxious and avoidant, and experiencing these painful emotions and allowing myself to go through them and move through them has taught me that they aren't as scary as I think, that they are survivable, and I am survivable. I can survive them. And it's allowed me to have more confidence and strength in myself and to not abandon myself and to not cheat myself by running away from things that I do need to feel, and allowing myself to have the safety and creating a safe space for me to experience those emotions. So in short, too long, summarize, it's made me stronger, and it's made me a stronger woman, a better woman, and a more emotionally intelligent and emotionally regulated woman. So, yay! All right, we have made it through all of the questions, and I think I actually like this format. This has been very therapeutic, and I think it's very interesting. It's an interesting way to talk about myself and my emotions, and honestly allow you guys to get to know me a little better. And hopefully these questions can help you and you share them as well. And let me know again in the comments. I'll leave the questions in the comments, and if you feel like answering, I would love that. And I would love to know what you think and how you feel and how you deal with your emotions, because again, beauty is emotional, and I think the most beautiful women in the world are the ones that are not afraid of their emotions. So hopefully with these videos, we can make emotions less scary. Yeah, I think that's what I'm going with. Okay, this is the look for today. Thanks for hanging out with me, and I will pop back in again very soon.